Okay. Yeah, sorry, I'm a little bit late because I have a ex-student, your senior. He wanted to sign some documents or something like that, and my job is in the office, and I don't have much time today actually, so I have to go and get it for him. And I was a bit worried about the traffic coming down from Unimas here. So I've got to do it for him after my appointment. He needs it by today. That's the problem. For job application or something like that. Anyway, yeah, let's get started. Let me share my screen to get the attendance first. I'm not sure whether this attendance is applicable for the, it says Civil 14. Is it only for people in Civil Group 14? You try? Kalau semua orang boleh, just use this one now. Yeah, boleh. Is it boleh? Yeah, can. Anyone else? Only 30 plus. Only 34. Goodness gracious. Where's everyone else? You guys requested for the class at this time, and then you all don't attend the class. Apa ini? Can somebody let me know what is going on? Okay, if that's the case, it doesn't matter. Honestly, it's your IDP, it's not my IDP. Okay, I mean, like, you can see that I'm a very I'm a very simple kind of person, I don't want to. I already give you my warning. It's very simple. You got it. You got my warning already. I already say the consequences of not attending classes, and then this is actually like most of our classes now are actually physical, and there's no recording. Okay, this one here, yes, I have recording, but normal I see a lot of poor attendance also in project management as well, you see. So it seems that some people are just getting more and more daring. Yeah, I mean, like, I am a very strict marker, everybody knows that, you see. So, and generally PM is fully going to be marked by myself, every single thing, every single question. So you have no Dr. Lee to save you guys, okay? Last time Constact, she still do half of the marking. So KNS 1472, she did the full marking. So you guys have been passing through. But with me, you may not pass through, Okay, I'm not trying to scare you to tell you how scary I am, but then it's just a fact, I see that, I mean, I see failures in my classes, but I'll be giving you warnings, giving you all the practice class as well. If you guys don't bother to do it, I mean, it's really, you guys are 4th year, you are old cow already. Semua lembu ini, lembu tua sudah, you should know how to plow the field. You should know what to do, I don't need to tell you. Okay, I don't need to nag so much. Yeah. And the worst is later on the attendance very, very low. Okay. Then email me again, message me again. Oh, sorry, doctor. I was like, no. Can I sit for exam? Ah, goodness gracious. Okay. All right. I will unshare my screen now, and then somebody wants to share your screen. All right. I will go with the flow of from back. Okay, so group 1 can go first, and then group 6. You have 16 group kan? So 1, 16. Is it 16 groups, Sophia?
18 group, Prof.
18 group. Okay, and all right. So 1, 18. So somebody from group 18 will be the next one, and then 2, 17. Okay, like that. So I give every group an opportunity to ask questions, and I will allocate about 5 minutes per group, more or less, yeah. And some of the questions will be relevant to other groups, same kind of questions, okay? So you either build on their questions or you say you pass, you don't want to ask any questions, okay? All right. Group 1, siapa mau pergi dulu? If you don't have any question, you just write on the chat box here, group 1 pass, or group 17 pass, or group 18 pass, like that, okay? Group 1, any rep from group 1? I already told you guys it's going to be your show, not my show this morning. Okay, Nurul Ain. Group 1, is it Nurul Ain?
Cost like the management, I want to ask about that. We don't need to give any selling price, right?
No, not necessarily, yeah.
No.
Because
so I just give it like this is okay.
This is what? This is the cost, right? Is this an analogy estimates or is it the preliminary estimates?
Analogy.
No, sorry. Is this conceptual or conceptual?
Conceptual.
Okay, if it's conceptual, you can do something like this, okay? But this is like just to present the final summary. That way, to arrive at this table, you need to tell us what is the floor, like let's say single-story terrace house corner, the floor area is this much, and then how did you calculate with the analogy estimates? You see, so do you take some historical data of construction costs from another project? Also, single-story corner terrace house, what is their cost? What is their cost? Cost, not selling price, what is their cost? And then you plug it into the formula, you calculate. The formula has been given to you in the notes, then you in PM notes, okay? So you calculate and then you get, this is my rate, okay? Sorry, this is my amount, all right? So if you're going to build it, if you're going to use rate, then you've got to include, you need to explain what is your rate involved. You cannot just throw in any numbers here and give it to me. You understand?
It means the rate is the reference. You want the reference of the rate?
No. Why is it 1,300, for example? Why is it 1,058, for example? Why is it 5,060, for example? You see? So you must explain what is that rate include for, especially because conceptual and preliminary is a very rough rate. So in this rough rate, what do you include in the rate?
Another one is for Gantt chart. I want to ask, is it just
Do you
the
understand what I was trying to say with the rate thing just now? It's just not to say that, oh, you put a reference date, market rate. But this market rate include what? You see? So you must explain to me, like, let's say it's 5,000. So this 1,000 is to cater for how many workers, estimated how many workers, estimated how many machineries, estimated how many whatever material cost is how much, you know. So then you add up, this is the rate, you see, and then this rate, this is the, we call it all up rate, but all up rate, we don't really use it during conceptual. If this is conceptual, then we prefer just analogy or parametric estimates. So you've got to show us how you plug in the formulas, you know, how you do your calculation, at least samples for every, I mean, like in this case, it'll be samples for every single work, substructure, earthwork, substructure, geotech, structure, and then civil is sewage, road, water, drainage. You've got to show us example of your calculation of how you use analogy, how you use parametric, or how you use all up rate, you see. I do not want to see, just give me this table, this is the total cost for the house, for example. I mean, for one price, I mean, for the construction cost for civil and structural work with the land price. You know, you don't do that, you see. You have to give, when you show us this table, in the front bit, the front part here, there's a lot of writing that you need to do to come up with this table, okay? Faham tak?
yeah, faham.
Okay.
And then for another one is Gantt chart. For conceptual, we give you just 2 level, right? For WBS, and then I want to ask for Gantt chart, is it just 2 level or the full level
Okay, hold on.
WBS?
Hold on. I do not understand why a lot of people are still using level 1 as the project. You see, I mean, I've seen that in many places. Level 1 is not the project. Yeah, this is what you should be doing. Yeah, like preliminary, general piling work, building work. This is level 1. Okay, correct. Yes, for your Gantt chart, you only, for conceptual, you only need to give me something like this. Level 1 should be enough.
Okay.
Yeah, like for preliminary, maybe you can go up to level 2 if you want to. Yeah.
Okay. That's all I want.
Okay, that's 2 very good questions. Okay, at least it shows us that, you know, your understanding level is up to where, and I'm sure other people also are having a similar issues here. Okay, because your report, there's conceptual and there's also preliminary. So there's 2 parts here. So you got to be clear on which part you're asking. Okay. And siapa lagi? Group 18. Who wants to present in group 18?
Hello. Good morning.
Yes.
I'm from Group 18. Group 1 asked the questions I want to ask, but only the parametric part I still don't understand, but I haven't prepared for parametric parts. So Group 18 can skip lah.
Okay. Parametric is like this, Eric.
Yeah.
Parametric is like this. Let's say civil work. For example, you want to use civil work as an example. I mean, with parametric, it's fine, you know. So what you do is you look at the drainage work, and then you have to confirm on which 2 or 3 or 4 parameters that you're looking at in terms of drainage work. Is it, maybe you can look at pilings, okay? Maybe you can look at piling as one estimate and completing work as one parameter, or the length of the drain as one parameter, for example. Road work, you can use parameter as in the length of the road plus what are the other parameters? Is it the ground? Sorry, the what is the name for the thing that is under the road? Maybe you can use the different layers, for example. That could be one parameter. Like usually, you need to pick two to three parameters minimum. So it's always easier to do it with civil work when it comes to parametric estimates. Like waterworks, I would generally use the pillar hydrant, the sluice valve, and also the length of the pipe. Okay, or you can use the number of chambers that you build, the manhole that you build. The sewage work usually will be manhole, the numbers of manhole and the length of the pipe. That is 2 parameters. Okay, so each parameters you have an estimated quantity, and then you get historical data for the other for other projects. Okay, and then you take their rate. Not to say their rate, like you have to say, okay, their project is actually 2 km, 2 km of pipe, and they have 6 manhole. So what is the portion of how much are you allocating for? Like you have to allocate, I will put 60% in pipe, 40% in manhole, for example. So then your historical data will take the total and use 60% of that for the pipe and 40% of that for the 40% of the cost, the historical cost for manhole, for example. Then in your case, what is your parameter? So yours is maybe 6 km of pipe and 10 manhole, for example. And then you use the calculation, the projected calculation, no? Okay, you can try this out, and then you can see me like in one of the class later, huh?
All right, noted. Thank you.
But you understand what I'm trying to say to you?
Yeah, but the
This
parametrics
one-
not including like all upright, right? It is
No,
just
no.
the material, not considering the
No.
labor, anything.
No. It's not to say it's not there's no rate here. It's only like, for example, analogy. You only pick one capacity. You pick one parameter only. For example, numbers. Numbers is one parameters. Okay, so if other people's project has 60 houses, your project has 50 houses, you take their construction cost and then you do a projection into your 60 house. That is analogy. It's only one parameter. But parametric estimates, you have to use 2 parameters and above.
Okay, thank you.
Projection, whatever that you project is already inclusive of everything. It's already inclusive of everything, meaning that it's inclusive of labor, machineries, all the resources already all in. Because you're taking the construction cost of another project that is already been completed in the recent years, or you do a historical data of 5 different projects that you research on, that you gather your data from, and every one of these you split up into the parameters that you are looking at. You see. So you need to know the quantity of that parameter. It's in the notes there. You didn't see it, man? I mean, I thought I gave it to you under cost management. So you need to know parameter A, okay? And for that particular portion of the project, parameter A is what? Parameter B is what? Parameter B, A is meter. Parameter B is meter cube, for example, right? You are trying to split your work up into 2 parameters or more. 2 to 4 usually 4 will be quite okay. 5 will be a bit detailed, starting to get a bit too much detail already. So you set this, let's say sewage work, you set 2 parameters already. Length of the pipes, numbers of manhole. Okay, so you need to know the numbers of manhole. From your general layout, you can see the numbers of manhole that you have. You can see estimated, this is the quantity of pipe that you will be using. Okay, because from your site plan for sewage work, you can get it already, but that one is also an estimate, because your layout is still not full yet, I mean, like, it's not not really like based on all the calculations that you need, you see. So it's an estimate, you see. Now you put a third category of miscellaneous item or whatever. Okay, but that one should be able to calculate, like, or you can put a lump sum there, for example. All right. So now you've got 3 parameters. So you go and gather for, say, 3 projects that has been completed in year 2022 that is in your area or in Kuching area or in the same cities that you're doing the job, or same town that you're doing your job. You see. So you take their sewage work. What is the construction cost for their sewage work? If the construction cost for sewage work is actually 200,000, so you base on the same parameters, you go and look at their quantity. You see, their quantity, how you have 3 parameters. So same goes, you have to look at the same 3 parameters. But before that, you need to say, okay, for this one, I will be putting how many percentage? 60% of my cost into pipes. 30% of my cost into manhole. And then 10% of my cost into lump sum. Or what you can do is, if you are really, really smart, what you will do is you will go to the other people's construction costs. How much did they spend on manhole? Okay, how much did they spend on pipe? And then what was the other item that was not accounted for? So then from there you also can get the percentage, and you can use that percentage in your work, see, I mean in your project. So instead of guessing 60, 30, 10, you can really look at some historical data and say, okay, I think roughly for all the work is around 50% or 60%. So then 60%. So then you think, okay, their cost, okay, other people's historical cost is 200,000. 200,000, 60% of 200,000 is 120K. Okay, for how much of pipe? For 2 km of pipe, 2,000 meter. And yours is how much? Yours is 2,500. So you do a projection now. So this is 2,500. Then for manhole, theirs is, you already said 30% of the cost will go to manhole. So 60,000. Their historical data cost is 200,000 for the entire sewage work. 200,000 times by 30% is 60,000. So how many is your manhole? Your manhole is 10. Okay, so you do the projection. It's simple mathematics. You can do the calculation, right? 5 manhole, 60,000. 10 manhole, how many? That's the calculation. And then the rest is the rest of the 10% is miscellaneous. Then you take the front two combined 10%. That's another extra cost 10%. So then you get your estimated cost, your parametric cost for your sewage work. This is it, just like that. All up rate is different. All up rate is basically you get a quantity, then you have to come up with a rate that have to convince everybody that this is the general rate for. You cannot go to some places and say that, okay, like I know some people were showing me some documents that is taken from KL and all that. Yes, you can borrow their rates. Okay, you can also talk to contractors and get their rates. And it's important to do referencing when you do your project. But then you also need to do explanation on the rate. That's all I'm trying to get to everybody. You cannot say that, oh, this rate is from the market. If it's so simple that everybody say everything is market rate, then can I say I tell you, then I say that this is market rate? Done. It's not like that, right? So you still need to do explanation on what that market rate means, you see. So O up rate, the O up rate is important that you explain on the rate. So parametric and analogy, generally we will use it in conceptual. Okay, but parametric can also be used if your drawings are like, especially your layout, and there's not many parameters. And yeah, you can use it in, you can either use O up or parametric in preliminary studies. Okay, so you can choose between the two. It's up to your comfortable level, up to the information that you have. Do you have enough information to do an O up, or do you have enough information just to do a parametric? Something like that. Okay. You see, O up rate is also used as a definitive estimate when the consultant do calculation, a budget for the client, because they do not know the work process, they do not know the resources that the contractor will use. So what they do is they will come up with an O-up rate, and then they will just times it with the overall quantity. But when the consultant do it, their quantity are usually very fixed already. It's very clear already. It's just that they do not know the flow of work, you know, because the flow, you see from what I taught you, when you do cost management, if you don't have the flow of work, you cannot do a detailed management. You cannot do a detailed costing work, correct or not? Because you need the schedule, you need the resources, and many of the resources need schedule. You see, like machineries and also machinery and labor. You need to use schedule. So the schedule is about arrangement of work, sequence of work, and all that. So it also forced the contractor to think about how they want to lay out their work, you see, what goes with what comes after next, you see. So then that will make an impact on the cost later in terms of resources. To be able to do something in 5 days, to be able to do something in 7 days, to be able to do something in 14 days, they all have different price because labor and machineries are different. Just the very, very basic out of the 3 M's, labor and machineries are really different. So therefore, consultant, they do not know which of, I mean, they do not know which contractor will win the tender. They do not know which contractor will award the job. Even though they award the job to certain contractor, they already know, but how can a consultant to go and campur tangan into the management of how a contractor arrange their resources? They can give advice, they can tell them that it's wrong, that in their opinion it's like that, but in the end, it's the contractor themselves that needs to go and arrange their own workflow, work sequence, their resources. Then this will make a difference in the costing of the job. You cannot force the contractor to say, I need you to put 10 people here. The contractor said, me 5 people enough already. That is my workflow. So you can't say that. So that's why when a consultant do, we call it a definitive estimate, just to give a client, it's like one step before the detailed estimates. The client wants to know after the design is being completed, before they go out for procurement or tendering, they want the consultant to give them a rough price. So this is definitely much more detailed compared to preliminary estimates, but it is less detailed. It is a lot less accurate compared to a detailed estimates. Okay, so that's how we differentiate the different type of estimates. Okay, so Eric, you're okay, huh?
I'm okay. I am some confused between the parametric and analogy. May I ask one more explanations on the analogy? Because I'm confused right now.
Yes,
Sorry.
analogy is just one overall project, one parameter only. So if let's say your project that you are doing, you only base it on houses, numbers of houses, that's all.
Then the parametric is a little bit more detailed than that.
A little bit. It's a lot more detailed because it's based on different work.
Yeah. Okay. Understand already. Thank you.
Based on different work. Like let's say sewage, water. So basically, all Analogy is one whole project, one parameter. Parametric is you have got 7 components of work, right? Or 8 components of work, right? So depending on your work breakdown structure, you have got like, let's say, 14 activities, level 1. So of the 14, you have to do parametric 14 times. Huh? Do you see the difference now?
Yeah.
Okay. So if let's say I'm building a flour factory, okay, my overall analogy will be, say I pick the capacity of flour production. So if my factory, the one that I built, can do 5,000 tons of flour, 5,000 kilo of flour, or 5 tons of flour per day. So my historical data, other factories that I see, I only look at how many tons of flour that they actually come up with per day, and their construction cost. That's all. So you've only got 2 things here: construction cost and 1 parameter, or one overall parameter. Okay, so that is analogy. It's very fast, very quick. It can be done. It can be done for structural work. You use only floor area. So again, analogy can also be applied to 14. Let's say I'm just saying, let's say example, your project has got 14 level 1. Okay, 12 or 14 level 1. You can use analogy for structure. You can use parametric for water. You can use analogy for drainage. You can use analogy for sewer. You can use parametric for sewage. Yeah. So this is in preliminary design. We will do that. You need to do it for every level. I mean, for every item on level 1. You got it, Eric? Whereas conceptual, you can do an overall analogy. I'm confusing everybody.
No. Understand. So summary lah. In conceptual, just do the analogy. Then in preliminary, we need to do the parametric and the all up red lah.
In preliminary, yes, normally, if to make things very, very clear, if I were to set the standard, actually, even for preliminary, some of the work, you probably have to use analogy as well if you don't have enough parameters.
Doctor.
Can be done, but like I say, to make so that there will be people who are less confused. So let's say we just set it as conceptual. We will use fully analogy. Okay. And then for preliminary, you can use analogy, but we prefer you to use parametric or all operate. Okay. But the difference is conceptual is entire project, only 1 parameter that you choose. It's like I wrote, so I only choose km. That is 1 parameter. So my project is 60 km. So what about Pan Borneo? Pan Borneo is 100 km. What is the construction cost for 100 km of road in that environment? Okay, so mine is a 60 km. So that is what you do for analogy. You just directly take the proportion and then to the power of 2/3. There's a power of 2/3 there to reduce the to make sure that the analogy is not a direct projection now. Yeah. So there's a formula for that. You go and search it. I mean, you go and look at the notes. Okay. Then after that, for preliminary, say you have 14 level. Level one, you've got 14 items, 14 components. Each one of these, you need to come up with a cost. And each one of these, a technique to come up with the cost can be analogy, it can be a parametric, it can be or operate. Like for example, general and preliminaries, you can use analogy. There's no harm because there's nothing much to talk about there, you see. But if let's say you really only want to stick, I mean, like, it's okay if you can, of course, we will prefer you just to stick to parametric and analogy because the detail is a lot more. So again, conceptual you only do for the entire project. The maximum that you do is only for the type of houses or type of building, that's all. Okay, you can also split up your conceptual into type of houses. Let's say your many of you has like double story and single story, so you have two law. You can also use that as an analogy law. Okay, because maybe some data that you get from other projects, they only build double story. Some data they only build single story. You see, so there's not confirmed like one project that is entirely similar with yours. Then you probably have to take 2 or 3 analogy from your conceptual. Okay, it's flexible. I mean, it's just a matter of how much detail that you're going into. But for sure, for cost plan, you need to, for preliminary estimates, you need to do it for the entire level 1 or level 2 or whatever. Yeah, depending on where your detail are. Yeah. So if you got like 14 activities, level 1 activities, so you do for 14. You do 14 times your cost. Just like the I was asking me on the Gantt chart, same thing, huh? Is that clear? Anyone else having the same confusion? Eric, you okay already?
Yeah, I'm okay already.
Sure. Hey, later on, don't after I talk for so long, and then you guys after finish class go and message Dr. Lee. Dr. Lee, what is analogy estimate? Nanti dia pengsan, saya pun pengsan.
Doctor, I have a follow-up question regarding the all-out rate.
Yep.
Because just now you mentioned like we need explanation on that, right? So let's say we have a data for an all-out rate. So in that explanation, like do we explain like how does the rate comes from? Let's say, for example, this data that we got, it is based on the average fixed price competitive tenders. Then we explain on that. Is it like that?
Actually, it's more like you borrow their rates, but what is your logic from their rates? I mean, like if that rate, let's say, is from KL, so you can say that I'm taking that rate 160, 650, for example. So you explain on your logic, basically what is comprising. You don't have to say, you don't really have to explain. You don't really have to de-engineer their rate and try to explain their rate. You can just pick their rate and explain it in your own ways. From my understanding of your question is you're asking me whether you take this rate from something already, correct? Not from some way, some
Yes.
documents or whatever. So you're trying to write in your report by de-engineering, meaning that you take their rate apart and try to understand their rate and then you put it down. You don't have to do that. I would prefer you take their rate as a reference and then build up your own rate, for example.
Okay, understood.
Build up your own rate means that now that you have a guideline of 1,650, okay, so you know how they build up their rate. So you also say, okay, now for this rate in Kuching or in Samarahan, this how much will go to labor, how much will go to machineries, how much will go to what, and then we are factoring in transportation, we're factoring in East Malaysian prices and all that. And you may end up with 1,700 or 1,750. It's fine, Yeah. But you still have to reference your original rate, huh?
Okay, understood. Thank you very much, Doctor.
Using de-engineering is only a way to help you to understand the rate and then build up your own rate. And I'm sure some people will just take the rate and plug it in. That is fine also if you want to. But I wouldn't, as long as the logic behind it is actually reasonable, why you want to say that theirs and yours is exactly the same, for example. You can also write, I mean, like if you really don't have time or you know, you're really lazy about it, you can also write, okay, this rate is obtained from this document, which actually uses the rate from this year to this year, and then they include this. That's it. Okay, that is also logic. There is a logic behind that rate. Okay, that's fine. You know, but that's a report. I will just say that, you know, it will get you a B or B plus, B, you know, because it's just like that's it, you see? Yeah. The explanation is just so surface in that sense, you see. Fine?
Yes, yes. Thank you very much, Doctor.
No, you have from group
Group 11.
11. So 1 is done, 18 is done. 11, Eric, do you have any? Not Eric. You have. I always get you too confused because your surname is Ang, you see. So I always thought that you are Eric, sorry, Ang, because of the surname. Okay, now I know. Now because your name is next to each other, then I know why I always call you that.
No worries, Doctor.
We give you a new English name. Okay, so group 11, do you have anything else, Ang? One shot, we may as well finish up with you lah.
Currently the doubts has been explained lah. Mostly is at the costing part.
Sure. So I will type here 1, 18, 11 done already. Right, I have a question here from Marjorie. Marjorie, you're from group what?
Group 7, Doctor.
Group 7. So can we just proceed to group 7? So in conceptual, we can just look at the type of house. Conceptual, yes, you can look at house. Type of house is a parameter. And
so within that parameter,
you don't really have to go and separately look at sewage, drainage, etc. Because you see you guys don't get the concept here. The concept is you already get a total construction cost from other projects. And this total construction cost from other project is actually building everything already. Okay? For that house to be able to have people stay in there. So in your case, you are just taking other people's total construction cost divide by their number of houses. Let's say they have got 100, you know, let's say their construction cost is 5 million. And you divide, total construction cost means that the cost is everything already. Okay, everything inclusive of sewage, drainage, livable conditions already. There's no such thing as painting not done now, water not installed, that kind of thing, correct now? So that is 5 million divided by no land price, total construction cost only, divide by 100 houses, 100 terrace houses. Yeah. So 100 terrace houses, then per unit is how much? 5 million divided by 100. Can anybody divide for me? 50,000. Is it 50,000? Yeah. Example cannot be so cheap 50,000. Okay, so 50,000. So that means your house is how many? You only have 60 house. So 500,000 times the 60 house 50,000 times the 60 house, that is your construction cost. 3 million. Okay, but there is a formula that you need to power it to something that is in analogy estimate. Analogy, see the word analogy. You go and search for English dictionary, not only search dictionary, like you go to Google. What is analogy? Analogy is like an example. The meaning of analogy is example. So you take other projects example, their total construction costs, and project into your construction cost. That's it. You do it in the conceptual phase. The client not even sure they're going to give you the project or not. You're not going to do a full design and do a full calculation on construction cost. That will take you like at least 2 weeks to finish. So then how? Then he not give you the job, then you cry. Okay? So conceptual is the very early stage. The client just want to feel, how much would the cost be? So you use analogy example. And that's different from, that is a step higher than expert opinion. Expert opinion, I just simply say one. Yeah, because I'm an expert ma, I talk only ma, you believe or not? Right? That is expert opinion. Analogy estimate and what we call order of magnitude is the same thing. So if you search for order of magnitude, means that you are looking at the magnitude of the project. One magnitude only, the size of the project to come up with the cost. Faham? Huh? Parametric is then you split the project or you split the work into different parameters. So the wording already give you some sort of like a idea, you know, of what is going on in a way, huh? Yeah. So you can use like like what I say, because you have different journeys of houses. So your conceptual, you can use type of houses law. That is not a parameter, huh? I wouldn't call it parameter. You just you are just analogizing 2 or 3 types of houses only. And if you're more hardworking, if you know, if I were to do assignments, I'm an assignment queen last time in uni, you know. So if I were to do this sort of assignments, I will make sure that I go and get 5, 6 different historical data, you know, and then I will do an average even, yeah, and then do the average to calculate the analogy. That would be something really nice to see, yeah. But of course, if you have one already, I already alhamdulillah lah, huh? Okay. Majori, you have any other questions from your group? Group 7, right?
Yeah. So over the past week, I talked to my relative who's working in the engineering sector lah. And then I was talking to them about doing all this estimation, and then I was asking also if they have any historical data, and one of the things that they suggested to me was to use shop houses punya historical data, but our house is not a shop lot lah. It's not a shop house. It's a double story. Then they say I can just, you know, atur and just look at the construction cost for only the top 2 story. Is that possible, Kak Doctor?
That is a very industry kind of answer to you lah.
Yeah.
The lecturer don't know one lah. Yeah, you know that kind of thing, right? Boleh lah. I mean, you are doing shop lot, right? 2 stories, is it?
No, we're not. That's the thing, because I was asking from them for the historical data, and then the only thing that they have is for shop lot, but for ours it's only we were doing double story terrace and single story semi-D.
Oh, so they get you to
Yeah.
cut off the top 2 story lah.
Yeah, yeah, that's what they suggested lah.
Pandai. You know what? It's not to say that they are wrong lah, huh? Sometimes desperate time calls for desperate measure lah, in that sense, lah. But you have to understand that construction of shop lot is actually a lot more straightforward compared to houses. You know why? Because houses, there's many rooms, okay? There's many rooms, there's many areas, whereby shop lot is just one whole stretch, nothing like that, you know? It's like maybe you only get like one room. Because when we construct shop lot, we try to be as empty as possible for other people to come in and do their businesses later, especially the first floor. So you imagine your first floor, there's kitchen, there is study room, there is car porch, and these are the things that you don't see in shop lot. So do you think that is a very good analogy? See, I mean, like, even though the second floor onwards, people usually make it into office, but their layout are usually very straightforward also. They'll probably split up into 2 rooms and 1 kitchen area, 1 bathroom. Whereas most houses upstairs got 2 toilets, 3 rooms. You see? It's a different layout completely. And I'm not even going to talk about in terms of the architecture requirement. Shop lot requirement, shop lot finishing is very, very simple. That's why all developers, if the market is good, they like to build shop lot. Shop lot cost is a lot lower because it's more straightforward. The construction is a lot more straightforward. The finishing is also a lot more straightforward. You don't do fantastic finishing. For houses, the finishing has to be very good. And I'm not even talking about architectural finishing. We're talking about just simple finishing for wall. You know, you need it to be really smooth. You know, the painting, the dark colors, everything are all, you know, some have to be weatherborne and all that. But for shop lot, you don't have to, you know, because shop lot, we normally will leave it up to the buyer themselves because you don't know who is going to be coming in to do business. Can be just an office, can be a furniture shop, it can be restaurant, you know, and they will do their own renovation. So if you say that to project the top of the two is already quite you know, then, you know, to use the top off and the bottom price directly like that, also, I do not think it will give you a very good analogy lah. Yeah, it will not lah. I'm quite comfortable to say that it will not lah. But if you're saying that, say, if you want to use the analogy of a semi-D with a corner, then that one maybe I think is quite okay. But if you're really desperate that you don't have this, okay, if let's say you've got 5 projects and shop lot is only 1 or 2 of them, just to help you to build up your data, I would say it's okay. All right. But if shop lot is all you have and you want to do the topping off like that, you are cheating yourself lah, huh?
Okay.
Unless you are going to put in other factor, you're going to factor something in there, and your explanation have to be very clear that you are factoring in what finishing guy, you're factoring in the construction costs for the 3rd and 4th story. You also cannot chop off like that, you know. When I come to a site and work, okay, I already mobilize. To build a 3-story and to build a 4-story and to build a double story, my time actually is not triple 4 times or double. You know, it's not directly proportionate like that, you see. A lot of the cost is already there. Like let's say, for example, you imagine this, your civil work. You got 60 units of houses. Does the civil work change if you do 60 units of shop houses?
No.
No, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So how do you chop off the 2 layer? How much cost do you think you chop off from the top 2 layer? Especially if this is a conceptual, like a general, like that. Okay?
Okay.
That is what I would think lah, you know. I mean, like, honestly, I wouldn't do that lah, yeah? Okay. Because of all these reasons that I've stated, like, it's actually different. So if I were to build same 4 stories, okay, same 4 stories on the same layout that you give me for your double story terrace house, okay, it looks the same, true or not? Yeah, it looks the same. You can also have combination of 6, 5, 8, for shop lot. You can even have a combination of 10 for shop lot, right? And then the whole entire civil work cost doesn't change already. It doesn't change much just because you have got 4 stories and you got like 2 stories. The civil works cost doesn't change. Even if it changes, very, very minimal changes. Just that maybe more internal piping, that's all. External piping is still the same. External sewage work is still the same. You still have to run through that area, you see. The road work is still the same. So then when you talk the total cost for the 1 unit, you chop off the 2. Are you directly chopping off the 2? Huh? So what formulation are you going to use to chop off the 2, you see? Directly chop, divide by 4 and, you know, becomes times 2. You have to know that shop lot, usually the price of the ground floor is always higher than the price of the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd floor. Yeah.
Yeah, I understand, doctor.
All right, huh?
Uh,
So you can use, but I mean, just like you said, a very industry kind of advice, huh? It's okay.
yeah.
It's a good experience. I'm glad we talk about this. Mhm. Yeah.
So it's best not to use that lah. Okay.
Best not to use that. Even if you want to use it, you really need to explain it really well, huh? In terms of
Mm.
why are you factoring up, why are you factoring down, and all that.
Mm.
You
Yeah.
you can probably use their analogy. Let's say for parametric estimates, you can use their data maybe for certain works, civil work.
Certain laws.
Civil work you can use, yeah.
As long as it's not the structural part lah.
Because short work is very different from houses.
Yeah.
Because short work also don't have setback. Houses have setback. So the structural cost is very different, yeah.
Okay.
And short work has 5 foot way. You see, your house has 5 foot way or not? Don't have a
Yeah.
Then because of the 4 stories, the foundation design will be definitely different.
Yeah.
Recommend it for structural work. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Any other question from you, Marjorie?
You were saying just now how if, for example, a semi-D, right, you can use the data from a corner lot,
Yeah, they're pretty much similar.
but it must be from the same type, right? So if it's a double story semi-D, then double story corner lot lah. Oh, okay, okay. All right. Okay, I think that's all from me. Thank you, doctor.
Okay, group 3. I've got request on group 3. Right. So far you're done with WBS for conceptual site utilization. What's left is my cost estimation. My doubts regarding cost estimation have been answered earlier. I have simple question regarding the cost estimate calculation. Since we're doing calculation. Okay, who is this? Give me your name. 70611. Okay. Your question sounds like, I've got a problem, and I keep on reading. Where's your problem? Okay, your problem is the last sentence. Yes, calculations, of course. You know what, Kama, that's the main thing I've been talking about since, like, I don't know, day one. You don't just put some tables and some figures there and say, okay, this is the number that we get. No, you have to explain. And instead, you have to give, of course, I don't expect you to calculate every single, I mean, like, you do your estimator worksheet, okay, in your appendix, but you need to talk and give some examples of the steps of calculations of how you arrive at certain numbers. This is especially important later when you have a lot of data in IDP2, where you're going to be doing a lot of detailed cost calculation. Okay. Because you cannot show every single one, you need to show at least in one component of work, say sewage work component, I call that component of work. You need to show the sample calculation. Here, definitely for IDP1, because you are lumping up into parametric or up for analogy, only 3 types. And these 3 types, the steps of calculation is not a lot one. Okay, so you need to show that in the report. To say you arrive at the final figure and then you show the summary table. Faham? The table, always the numbering go on top. Figure, like the gambar raja, that one, the figure will go on the bottom. When you write about figure, the figure above shows what? The table below will provide what? It's just like, okay, now the calculation, the report, the total cost is this much for sewage work. the calculation is breakdown as below. Breakdown as below in terms of resources. This is my resources, whatever you need to explain, and the calculation. How do you do the calculation? And then followed by, this is machinery, blah blah blah. You write. This is the steps for calculations for machineries. The rate is like this, like this, like this. This is what comprises of the rate. You explain. Okay, and then the summary. Then once you finish talking about all the steps, then you say, okay, the total summary is as below. So if let's say in IDP 2, your level 3, you've got like 5, 6 different activity, correct? No? So you can explain on one of the activity, all the detail, then you give a summary for the other 5. That is what we will do. Okay, but for IDP 1, because the calculation is very straightforward, it's really very straightforward, honestly. So you need to know, let's say you're using all out rate. So you need to say, okay, for sewerage work, we are using all out rate, the all out rate. You don't use the word we, sorry. You don't be misguiding you. In report, you don't write like that. You just say that, okay, the calculation will be based on the all out rate technique. Okay, the technique is to come up with the rate. The rate is what? The rate is from where it then what does it comprises of? How do we add up the final amount of the rate? And then the rate times by the quantity for the estimated quantity for these particular segments of the work is this much, and then you times it. This is the number. That's it. This is the cost for this number. Okay, so you need to explain that in your report, correct? The worst is people. I mean, if you see the notes that I gave you for the troubleshooting the other day, the briefing, you see me and Dr. Lee point out a lot of the examples there are usually people just give us the table and the number without any explanation. That we'll be asking, where did you get this figure from? The moment we start to ask, where did you get this number from, then you're not going to do well already. Yeah. Any more questions from group 3? Kama? Okay. Remember, the main thing is for preliminary estimates, you cannot have like you cannot have it's impossible, not to say you cannot. It's impossible because you haven't finished your design yet. So you will only have quantity for certain things in your project only, or certain works only. You wouldn't have the final quantity for every single screw and nuts and bolt and wire and all that. It's impossible. So for example, structural work, you can probably have a quantity for formwork and concrete and steel bar. But how many bricks are, how many doors are, how many whatever, like the small items, you can't, so you basically all the wire, the screw, this sort of things you calculate. You cannot calculate that much of things, you see. So it's not, because you haven't finished calculation. And it's not fixed also the final design also. So it's not possible. Even your design is a projection only, you only do like the main critical beam or critical column, and then you project it to the other component of your job. So I mean of your project other parts of the structural work, you see. So we probably would not be so detailed in your calculations also. Okay. So don't have too much details. You can, if you really are very confident in me asking you where did you get the numbers from, then you can give me details. I'm very happy to accept details. The better, with cost estimate, as a client, The more detailed you are, of course, the better I will get. You know, it's better for me as a client. But detail needs time. Yeah, okay. Right, so clear, everyone. So Annie, which group are you from, Annie?
I'm from group 16.
16.
Yeah.
Does 17 have any questions? You get ready your question now, 17 on the group 2. We can go back now. All right, so 16. Land price. Of course, you can, because not all land are being charged to the bank. You know, not all land price are being stated in the land title. Let's say I have my land from my dato. You know, my dato already passed away, huh? My dato has already passed away 10 years ago. Let's say he has a piece of land that he got from his, no, he cannot got from his father. You know, he's very old. So he actually come to Malaysia, Sarawak, you know, as an immigrant from China. So the government give up land, you know. So he's got this nice piece of land, for example, in Cebu. Okay, so he give it to us. Okay, let's say he give it to my father or my mom. Then usually the land title will probably just put in the land price, not the land price. It's just put in the kind of like a transaction, like an inheritance transaction. So if they put there, my dato give the land to my mom for 1 ringgit, does that mean that the land is 1 ringgit? So the land title, unless it's a very, very recent transactions, you probably cannot use the land price, especially if that particular piece of land is being put through many generations of owners. Then they have never planned to sell it anyway, and they may take this piece of land and joint venture with you as the developer. So it's even harder to see the land price based on the land title. So the best is to use the land price data found in your area. That would be the best. Okay. If you have the land price from the statistic department, it's even better because they keep the land price of the houses and land over the past certain numbers of years. Their data will usually be up to the most recent now, whenever time that they do the sensor, for example, they go and do survey. Or you can, I was telling somebody, you can try to get it from Sarawak Housing Developer Association. Whether they give you or not, I don't know, because Shida is a private, like all the developer, they actually do an association themselves. Okay, so they're generally very helpful, They are generally very helpful, but whether they will, who you meet, we don't know, There are many people there. Then they may be able to give you a very latest land price. And land price, like I said, statistic department will also based on areas. I think Batukawa, 7 Mile, Padawan area, Tabuan, Stumping, this sort of area, Samarahan, Asar Jaya will be very different as well.
Doctor, and then our lot is actually 80 acres, but we use only 10 acres. So does it mean we calculate only for the 10 acres for the land price?
Of course.
Okay. And then the other one is that,
hey, you just ask yourself, if you're owner, are you going to pay for the land price that your house will be based on the per point land price? Let's say you buy a terrace house, 6 points, and your developer put the 80 hectares land price into the 10 acres. Then how much are you going to pay for your land price? So you're going to pay for other people, It's not like, right?
no.
No?
And then
You also don't have logic already, yeah.
and then my other question is that, what if we use the same historical data for the analogy and parametrics of course, not all the data we use the same, but what if like one or two of
fine,
the
because
historical?
it's fine, it's fine, it's fine.
Okay.
But of course, using the one project in and out, you probably don't get much of a variation now, I would say lah, huh? But if you actually have a bit of a variation, means that you will probably get it from different projects. You have a few historical data. That would be my suggestion lah. Better to have a few, like 3 project historical data, so that you can at least average it out in some ways, or sometimes you can use one and then the other one you can use the other one also. So there's something to see which one suits you better lah, in that sense. You understand what I'm trying to say, Anne?
Yes. I think that's all my question is. I'm more into formatting of the report writing. We need to, for project management, we need to separate it into conceptual and preliminary, or for example, we can put in like for cost estimation, the sub like 2.1, and then for 2.1 we put conceptual, 2.2 we put preliminary, or we put 2 as conceptual and 3 as
On the
preliminary.
requirement of your report, well, are you supposed to be doing a conceptual report as a separate report? If it's a separate report, everything is just separate, but preliminary is preliminary. That's what I always see, like, normally that there's one report fully on conceptual, combined one, like.
I'm not sure how it's done because I was confused on where to put the conceptual and prelim.
No, conceptual, I always, from even last year's report, I think I see conceptual report. Then I see another document that is preliminary report.
Okay.
You double check with Dr. Razak.
Okay.
If it's one report, I would generally say I would prefer conceptual you do first and then prelim you do next. You don't mix them together. Very confusing.
Okay.
Okay. So sorry, and you're from 16, right?
Yes.
You're done already?
Yes.
Tonya from 15, okay? We have same confusion issue with other groups now, but the cost estimation. Okay, so you have some confusion, so you already clear on the cost estimation part? Okay, good. And confirmation on the quantity part. We only see the general part first, is it? And then compare it. Yeah, the detail, like as in the really detail, all the resources, how you line up all the resources, how you put together, how many numbers of workers and all that, the material, the detail, all that is in IDP 2. IDP 1 is just overall. Like I said, a few parameters or overall project numbers of houses, km of roads, but general also not so general lah, because for preliminary, we will need you to do it for every component of the work. It's just like I give you an example lah. For preliminary, you do for waterworks, for example. I only look up. I only look at my parameter will be kilometer of pipe and let's say numbers of Swiss valve and numbers of pillar hydrant. That is my 3 parameters. But in terms of for the total construction cost, will of course that you get from other people, other project previously done, is already inclusive of everything. Yeah, because it's just that your project don't have everything yet. So you only use that 3 parameters to project into your final cost. Okay. The detail one later on, you will show us material costs. I've got pipes, I've got rubbering, I've got sleeving, I've got, even pipe alone, you've already got 3 items. Yeah, the sleeving. Do you need to do the bed filling? Do you need to do the excavation? Do you need to put in new tanah for excavation? These are very, very detailed for next semester. Pillar hydrant, it's not only one set of pillar hydrant. Now it's one set, you're looking at one set, but this one set in detailed estimates later, you'll be looking at, okay, I've got one pillar hydrant, one duct foot, one short piece, one Swiss valve, 100 mm Swiss valve. There's a lot of detail inside there. Okay, so then you can get the cost of material for every single component. Now you can't, because you only go by set. One set 6,000, one set 5,000, which you assume that it's actually complete already. I shouldn't use the word assume, otherwise you're really going to assume. Okay, so historical data of one set of pillar hydrant is how much? Intelligent gases are in the sense, Tonya? Are you okay, Tonya? I'm glad to see there's a lot of questions here. I mean, I'm really happy because previous years of IDP, I just sit here, you look at me, I look at you, And before we know it, we hear, come here, Choi, yeah. All right, Tonya, anything else from you, Tonya? Do you understand the example of waterworks that I gave you just now? Yeah, okay, you're clear, right? Are you clear? Yeah, okay. Yeah. Because you all have your student numbers, so I'm a bit blur. Yeah. Okay, so Kama, you still have a questions from what I've seen in IDP room. Okay, IDP room. Check with Dr. Raza. I don't want to commit anything with you. Even though they combine, I would say the conceptual report will be the front part of the report. And the prelim is on the second part of the report. All right. Because you cannot alternate the work and say, okay, structural work, prelim, conceptual, and then prelim. Then storage work, conceptual, and then prelim. Isn't that very confusing? Then my mind, the reader, your mind, my mind also have to flip flop, flip flop, flip flop. I remember seeing it as a separate Maybe recent year they combine. Did they combine? I forgot also actually. Into one report is possible, but the section don't combine them. Faham tak? And your different section, like let's say you're doing the preliminary cost, the conceptual cost is actually overall project yeah. Whereas the prelim is for every work so how do you combine them? Who asked this question again? Just now. And I think Anne asked this question.
Yeah.
So I just can't see how you can combine them, yeah? In terms of
Because
project.
the one we saw in IDP room also, they don't separate the conceptual and prelim. So it was confusing to me myself because I cannot differentiate which the conceptual and prelim since they didn't mention in their report also.
What did Dr. Razak, they all tell you to do?
They
Combine
didn't
it?
specifically say how to do it in report, but we'll ask them again this Thursday, tomorrow.
If possible, I would say that all your seniors all the report very bad one. Okay. Don't trust them so much. Especially the last 2 years one, they are like horrendous actually. It's like a nightmare reading their report. So many questions. All right. Everything done. Double check on that, and then but even if they don't specifically say, then you just finish writing up the concept first and then go to your prelim. Okay. It's better for you to have two parts. Even in the same report, you bind them together, it's fine. But at least the table of content is very clear that you go in talking about the conceptual first, and then after that you move in and talk about the prelim. Yeah. right, Alfredo, okay, from group 9. I also have confusion regarding analogy. Okay, so it's clear up, my group. We still have about another 3.5 weeks with each other, yeah. But of course, your IDP cannot wait for 3.5 weeks. So we've got to sort it out as soon as possible. It's good to know that you're clear. I hope you are clear. You know, when you say you are clear, you're clear and my clear may be two different things. So hopefully, like, if possible, if you would like to, after classes on, because you see, I always finish my class about 15-20 minutes early, sometimes half an hour early. I can talk to you guys after classes as well on your IDP. Sometimes I don't want to get too carried away during PM classes talking about IDP, because in case some people don't take IDP, then you will be wasting their time. All right, so I think you are doing reporting, so you're trying to find historical data. Try to find historical data for at least 3 projects, even though not in the same area, but at least in the same town or the same district. Yeah, that would be better than just any historical data, because Cebu Kuching is very different, no? Kuching Samarahan is probably similar, but Samarahan can be a little bit more expensive due to transportation costs. Just a tiny bit more expensive. Right, next, see. So, Alfredo from group 9, yeah? Are we missing any group yet? Are we missing 2? We're still missing 2, number 2. Anyone from number 2? Who's this?
Najwa.
Nashua, okay.
Okay, can I show you my site utilizations? Because yesterday I already asked you about where should I put all the site utilization on my layout. Wait, I share my screen.
The senior report is definitely a mess. I mean, like, under project management, even up to IDP 2, I don't think I have given anyone more than a 60 marks, okay?
Prof, is this okay for you? Like, look okay, the site utilization, because the design was changed yesterday, because part road, the road part, my groupmate went to their mentor and he asked to remove some of the houses and the road. So this is my self-realization. Is it okay?
Yes, it's fine where you put your things, okay? But are you sure it's enough of areas for you to put your things, okay? Just, I've already mentioned to you, it is also fine to overlap into certain, in the beginning, like let's say the 2 houses, the 2 detached, 2 semi-Ds, is it 4 semi-Ds at the corner there? In the first row there, you can put your things there for a while first. You know, if there's nothing wrong with that, it's just that when you draw this site utilization plan, you can just draw something on top like that also can. So don't limit yourself to just like whatever area that is left. Okay. And site
Okay.
utilization plan also, you need to mention the movement of machinery, not just where you put your things. In many development projects that involve even like high rises and all that, they will need to even think about where to put their crane, the mobile, the tower crane. Here, obviously, you don't have a tower crane now. If you have a tower crane, they will also mark the location where they will fit the tower crane so that the boom turning area is going to cover the maximum entire project.
Oh, okay.
So the movement, not only where you put your washing bay and all that, this is not all it is to site utilization. The main thing is the movement of people, material, machinery, what is the best way to move them around. If you're going to stuck it in one corner later, let's say if you put your machinery into a far inner corner, then you may have problems later on after you build certain things. You cannot take it out later. You know, it can be a hassle. If you put at the entrance there, are you going to stuck? Are you going to cause a big jam at the area in front there, later on the back there cannot, everything is slowed down, you see. So you do measurement also, where you put a side office, see whether this is really a right measurement, you see. You cannot just say, I got this tiny area there, I just fit in a side office, you see. So yeah, you have to make sure that. And then what type of side office are you going to use? Is it a container side office, Are you going to build like a temporary side office? If it's really, really tough, then if this is only in Kuching or in somewhere, then you may actually put your side office, borrow a shop lot, rent a shop lot instead of build one, to save space, you see. Why not?
Oh, okay. So it's not necessary for me to put the side office in the design lah.
No, no. You may just change it to a workers' rest area or something like that,
Okay.
If you have nearby, place that you can rent for 600, because like side office normally we can rent people shop lot upstairs, for just 1,000 or something like that. Okay, so or even second floor onwards is only like 800 ringgit only. So yeah, depending on your area. Of course, if you rent Paradise, it's different thing lah, But if it's just like maybe Asajaya, mana shop lot that you rent, you don't have to rent ground floor, it's just an office space, but it's nearby to your site. That is possible also, yeah. And where you put your site vehicle, not only the heavy machinery, but the staff also needs car, They have cars, where are they going to put them?
Okay. Okay, Prof. So for the heavy machinery, I can put it like somewhere up there also, because like my land dia macam ada bukit sikit, macam ada naik sikit.
Yeah, you can. You can put it inner part, especially if the floor of the if it's not flowing through any houses and anything like that, it doesn't block anything, then you can flow it. I mean, I would say where you're pointing to is okay, because I can see the road down there, the whole area you masuk sana, you terus pergi your machine sana. It's also not like blocked by anything, Yeah.
Okay. Right, I think that's all from me, because like yesterday.
The playground area, why not? The playground area. What's wrong with the playground area? You're not doing anything. You're not planting any grass or putting any swing there now in the construction stage.
Yes. So I can put the machineries there first lah, or the.
Yeah, or something there first. You have to know you flow the logic, okay, of putting it there, whether it's easily accessible. Does it go to the different part of the site easily, for example? It wouldn't block anything, for example.
Okay.
Convenience and all that, something that you think about and explain in your report lah.
Okay, Prof. I think that's all from me, because yesterday I asked you about my WBS and cost estimation.
Yeah.
Already. Right. Okay, thank you.
So you're from
Group 2.
Group 2, is it?
Yeah, Group 2.
Group 2. Okay, not sure. Okay. Group 2. So Group 1, Group 2, Group 3 is done. And then we've got 7 is done. 8 not done yet. Group 10. 9 is done already, right? Yeah, 9. I think 9 is done. 7 is done. 6 is not done. So we've got 4, 5, 6 is not done. Get ready your question now, 4, 5, 6. And then there's someone from Group 10. Is Group 8 settled? Not yet, right? Did we settle Group 9? I kind of feeling that we settled Group 9. No. Is it no? Yeah. Yeah, of course, Alfredo, yeah. That's why I thought my memory is not that bad yet. Okay, so 4, 5, 6, 8. All right, get ready, I'll go for 10 first, so we settle the first 10 numbers first, No question from Group 5, pass already. Wow, so smart. All right, Group 10, I just want to ask the land price just now, but Group 16 already asked. Okay. Land price get the recent market rate. Okay, that is the best. You can look for people selling land. You know, if there's any advertisement about selling land, give the agent a call. How much are you selling this land for? You don't want to tell them that you're a student. You keep on hearing people like, wow, this land so popular. Always people asking. Actually, a student from Unimas. I'm teaching you all the bad things. Right, group 10 already asked. So group 8. Group 8, some 5 says no questions. Confusion on land. Group 8, confusion on the land title. 4 where's number 4?
Doctor, it's not land title, sorry, I typed it wrongly. I was having a confusion on the land price actually. So since it has been answered just now, so far I have no questions.
Just remind everybody, the key thing is you have to be very, very clear in the report that your construction cost is only comprising of civil and structural work. You know, don't later on go and say that, oh, the total construction cost is like this, and then my land price is like this, so the total cost of the project is like this, you know. Hey, you know, you don't forget your M&E, your architect, you know, your landscape, you know, and a lot of this government authority charges and fees and all that belum done lagi. So this is not your total construction cost. Be careful in using the word total construction cost. It's only total civil and structural cost. Yeah. And because of that, you cannot use it to project your selling price, because unless if you really, really want in IDP 2 later, we will mention about the selling price. I mean, if Dr. Raza asks about selling price, you just tell them that the project management lecturer all agree that we don't want to talk about selling price in this report. Okay? In case we are not there in your oral presentation, I give you permission to use my name here in this case. Because you say that, you just tell them that, you know, we cannot calculate the selling price because this report does not include any M&E and also M&E and also architecture, landscape, a lot of other elements not inclusive yet. So when you go and search for historical data, you can also just search for structure and if it's possible, but if it's a total construction cost, they will have already calculated in the M&E and architecture as well. So to give a guideline in terms of analogy and parametric is probably okay, you know. But in terms of detail, we don't include any M&E. M&E, a lot of money involved. Plumbing, internal plumbing is M&E. Sewage, you know, the one that goes up to septic tank, all inside the house up to the septic tank is actually architectural work. It's under architect, you know, M&E and architecture. All the toilet furnishing and all that, these are all under architecture. And then plumbing, internal wiring, lighting points, power point and all that, these are all M&E work. So quite a fair bit of things that are not catered for, you know. Pumping, your pump, these are not really under not under civil and structure. Not a lot, but you know, there is still a cost involved there. So there are many things, and there's a lot of money that comes in terms of authority charges as well. Water board will ask for a capital contribution if you want to plug into their pipeline. That one can be quite expensive, you know, it can cost up to tens of thousands. Yeah, just to tap the water. You know, like how your development, you need to tap the water into the external piping. The external piping is there's a major pipe that is running along that area. So if you tap into those pipes, especially the more major it is, the more expensive it is. So that one is easily can cost you 30, 40, even 50,000 sometimes. Yeah. So they call it a contribution. Yeah. So yeah, so there's a lot of cost not involved. So don't be very careful with your wordings in that sense. I can see there's a lot of effort from you all. Okay, I can see that. I mean, I really enjoyed my session this morning with you because I think you've got questions to ask and you're serious about asking questions. You know, I think that is good, you see. So although the attendance is a bit poor for some reason, because maybe some people think that it's none of my business, this is project management. Okay. But unfortunately, these people don't learn anything as if in the future you go out to work, you know, you are only doing project management, or that you're only doing structure, so you don't have to worry about this. Not like that, no? The more you learn, the better it is, huh? We also don't expect a standard answer from you all. There's no such thing as perfect standard answer. For us, me and Dr. Lee, we're very concerned about your logic, your reasonableness of the report writing. Not to say that all of us, me and her, have some answers at the bottom of our drawers, you know, and then we're just playing Pandora box with you guys, you know, and saying that why would we want to torture you like that, you know? For what? Yeah, if I'm torturing you, I'm torturing myself, okay? Like going through the thing again and again, you think it's not torturing. It's easier just to give you the answer, okay? But I don't have the answer, you see. I only have the way to the answer. So I would like to guide you towards your answer. So the best thing is in the next 1 or 2 weeks, somebody show us, you know, if you really want some comment on the report, I see you guys making a lot of effort now in the calculation and all that. That is good, that is fantastic. But then later on, you mark it up in the report. You don't explain in the report. And then you lost all your marks, all your hard work marks, because of you don't know how to explain in the report. It's just like you are a genius, but nobody knows that you're a genius because you can't talk, you see. All right. Analogy, depending, you have to be careful. Just be very clear when you ask the question about the total cost from the people you get your analogy estimate, whether they're giving you a C&S cost or a full cost. That is something that you have to be clear. All right, Ace? Okay. It's your historical data, it's not what you take in your part. You know what you take is C&S. Tapi when you ask for your analogy, when you ask for your historical data, just be very clear what you're getting, you see? So that you can do accordingly in that way. All right, so we've got group 4. 4 seems to be, 4 no question. 5 also no question. 6, I think, somebody said 6 just now. Anyone from 6? 7 done, 8 done, 9 done, 10 done, 11 done already, very early on. 12, anyone from 12? 6, anyone from 6?
Dr. Me.
Flonnie, you still want to ask questions?
Yes.
Okay.
We have some issue with our site layout. Can I show you my site layout?
I mean, it's a bit late to still muddle with site layout. I mean, like site layout, just fix it, and then get on with it, you know.
Because doctor, we have like in our site layout, we have like a concrete building. At first, we plan to like just demolish the building and then compensate the owner. But But then one of the mentor said that we cannot do that. So like we cannot simply like halal the house owner. So what is
They're
your
illegal.
opinion on that?
Are they encroaching into your land?
Yes.
Or can you please show me your where the issues is?
Yes, doctor. Wait, yeah.
Actually, normally, just under normal circumstances, as engineers don't really have to deal with this lah, because supposed to be when the land is given to you by the developer, they will have to already they will have already negotiated everything properly with whatever that is in the land, you know, like some illegal trespassers. If they are illegal trespassers, they are supposed to move out. Right?
Doctor, can you see my site layout?
Yeah, well, a lot of triangles.
Yeah, this is the two buildings here 1 and 2. Yeah, it's suddenly there.
Suddenly,
But
is it belonging to the landowner?
because in the land title it says that the land is owned by the developer. So we thought that at first it was just bangunan terbiar like that lah. So we just plan to demolish. Then we go to the site visit and we see that there are people living in the house.
Oh, have
Yeah.
you ever asked is this a real project? Where about this?
At Matang.
Did you ever ask the landowner whether these things belong to him or
No.
obviously in your case you don't have the how do I put it now? There's a lot of perspective here. Okay, first we need to know whether this is actually that two building or whatever house that they are doing. Are they trespasser? Do they have the legal right to be on that piece of land? That is one questions that we have to answer. Okay. If they don't have the legal right to be on this piece of land, obviously you cannot one fine day, take a bulldozer and then like drive the thing in and then bulldoze the house down lah, that one do that lah, that one is for sure. It will have to go through many processes of trying to, what is that word, to evict. If they are trespassers, you need to chase them out lah, in that sense lah. But the chasing out is not done by us lah, put it this way. The developer needs to settle that.
Yes.
Yeah, they need to settle that.
So we have to ask the house owner personally.
You can ask the house owner lah. If I'm trespassing in the land, am I going to tell you that I'm trespassing in the land? It's crazy. No. I'm like, oh, this is my house, this is my land. I built it. This is a very complicated issue in offloading. It's not something that we can talk about in like. There's many law in Malaysia that if these people, I mean, I'm not sure whether it's the same law apply here or not. Because I've never really studied this part of the law before about trespassing. Okay.
Yeah.
If there are trespassers, and if they have been on this piece of land for the past certain numbers of years, and with nobody actually trying to evict them, some country, they will say that they have the right to this piece of land if it's after certain time. I think in many places like Hong Kong and Australia and few other places I know, they actually, if you stay in the place for 30 years, let's say you rent a house from somebody, okay? And the house owner go missing. And you've been here for 30 years. And then somebody, after a certain time, you can go to court and claim that this is your house because you have been maintaining it. You have been paying for the building corporation. Usually the date is about 30 years. Okay. I don't know whether this thing applies to. I believe it does because we are all under British law, is it? So, like we all started with British law. So this eviction thing, there's a few issues here. How long have they been staying here? Does the land developer know that they have been staying there? If they have been known that they have been staying there, even the developer themselves go and evict them, it can be a big issue, you know, because nobody ever evict them before. Nobody say cannot before, you know. So there's a few lobang here lah, in that sense lah, you know. So if this developer buy this piece of land from a landowner, okay, a landowner that has been there, I mean, that has this piece of land. Let's say my dato again, my dato give me this piece of land. So let's say I'm in Australia, you know, I've migrated to Australia. I got this piece of land. And after so many years, I never look after the land. I don't know if somebody is staying there. And I couldn't be bothered also. It's just a piece of land. Okay. Then suddenly one fine morning, one developer from Malaysia called me to an agent and said that am I willing to sell this piece of land to him? And so I said, okay, can I sell, because I've already migrated anyway. There are many cases like that actually. The owner are not there or the owner are the second or third or fourth generation that are not even in Malaysia at this point in time. So they don't know the situation. They sell the piece of land already. And developer got this piece of land. And then they realized that there is somebody staying on this piece of land. They are illegal trespassers. It's just that Stutong area, last time there's a whole lot of trespassers there. It's very difficult to evict them. Very, very difficult. It's going to be a long process of evict. So that means this piece of land has a bit of problem already on it. Even if you want to go ahead and develop it, and these people staying there, you know, whose responsibility is they are actually illegal in the first place. But the problem is if they stay long enough, you cannot chase them out just like that. Okay, so some dirty people will probably just take a fire and burn the house down, you know, and that's what happened with Stutong. You know, some people just one fine night because they couldn't evict a lot of people there. So what they do is they get some something to just, I mean, like it's not like an official story lah, you know, but then how come, of course, a lot of people will say, you know, it's like a gossip that a lot of people say that because it's something cost, yes. It doesn't even have to be something, you just have to accidentally set a fire, and because all the houses is actually made of very weak material, you know, like wood and all that. So immediately, you know, the whole place was burned down. And these people have no choice, they have to evict already. And many places like some developer, they want to take overbuilding, they will cut off your electricities, you know, they will cut off your water supplies, you know, do a lot of this. It happens a lot in like maybe Korea, China, you know, and Hong Kong, you know, Hong Kong especially, a lot, because some people are just refusing to move because they don't have enough money to buy another house anymore, you see, so they just don't want to move. And when they don't want to move, the developer just have to use drastic measure. But those are not legal measure. Okay, that's if somebody die in the process, then you are going to be in big trouble actually. So how do you answer that? You know, you cannot directly. So whatever your mentor says is actually correct. You cannot directly say that I'm going to chase these people up and do something here. So my first thought is, because at this point in time, you wouldn't have enough information to come up with the strategy to evict or even to do anything about it. You just left that piece there, just left this piece there, just say that there's existing building there, lor. Just put it there, lor, to say that, you know, subjected to what the developer wants to do, lor. If they want to evict the people, they want to engage you to evict the people, then you would, or they just tell you straight away that, oh, you go ahead with the design, we will find ways to evict the people, then we will deal with it. Okay, if they need your help to deal with it, there's that you have to charge them lah, you know. So it's not your decision or not to evict them. It's not your decision or not to to replace them with a new house. Okay.
Okay, doctor. So in the design, we just let the house be there lah,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, treat it as other people's land or something like that. Yeah. But you mentioned it very
Okay.
clearly that there is an issue. There may be an issue with this piece of land. If they cannot get these people out in a nice way, there may be a lot of problems later. Because even if you build houses there and then you've got this ugly looking building or some really cheap looking quarters there, it can be an issue. Yeah.
All right. Thank you, doctor.
Yeah, you also cannot build anything there when these people are there. You see, so like I said, it's not your job. It's not part of your responsibilities as a contractor or as an engineer to actually deal with this final. I mean, unless you're being asked by the developer very clearly to find out. Yeah. And the developer should know, because if they pass you up to this piece of land for design, they should know that they have an issue there already or not. They're confident or not to get them to move, and what are the relationship? Could it be their owner? They may have a special agreement with the owner, not to move these people out. It could be their relative car, it could be their somebody there, it could be an old house there, or their own next house there. I remember this is my own case, I mean, like, my father and my this is really my dad thought that he has a piece of land in Cebu, last time. I mean, like, old people, so then they have an old house there, a really old house, rundown house that my father grew up in, and my uncles, they all grew up in. And although everybody already moved away, my grandma also died already, but that piece of land will come with that building there, you see, with that building and the basketball court, that is like a really small basketball court that my father used to play with and all that. So then when this piece of land is up for design, up to this stage of design, we need to think about, are we going to get rid of that house? Then it depends on the developer themselves. It could be their own house, and then they may have some relatives staying there in the old house, just to lend them, and then they start to stay there for 10 years, 20 years, and then they forgot all about it and never pay rent also. So it's a matter of what is their agreement, with the people staying in that house and the developer or the owner of that piece of land. So if without answering all these questions, we really cannot have an answer, say what you did just now, build them another house. You so kaya ka. What if the developer said, I don't even know these people, why do I want to build them another house? Correct now. If this developer is government, it's different. You may not be able to chase people out just like that. But if there's a private developer, they need to either chase them out, give them money, or just do the harsh way, go out. You have been staying here long enough. Legally, I can chase you out. Get the police to come and chase them out. Something like that. But definitely not you guys to bulldoze it down for them, okay? This is a very big part of land issue we need to deal with. I mean, unfortunately, to deal with land issues in your projects. We don't want to deal with land issues. Usually want it to be clean. Sophia, you asked Flonnie to pay, is it? Or you guys want to pay? You guys all go and raise fund and buy a house for this guy. And you don't even know who they are, okay? Come on. They could be so rich you don't even know. They haven't been paying for a rental for the past 20 years, maybe. Yeah, you want to go and pay for them. Don't be silly. Okay, so just leave it as, do a cross on that piece of land, saying that there's some issues there, okay?
Okay, doctor.
All right, and anyone else? 13, 12, 14, 14, 15, 16, 17, 16 done already, 17 done already, I think. 18 done already. 6, and anyone from 6?
I am from group 6, doctor.
Yeah, who? Oh, Fiona. Okay, sorry. 4 says no
Yeah.
question, 5 says no question, 6 says no question, 7 done already, I think. 8, 9, 10 all done already. 10 done already or not? 14 pass, okay. Okay, just final one. Anyone has last questions? Last 3 or 4, 2 questions? Last 2 or 3 questions? Tomorrow class proceed as usual, because these group people, they cannot come. So we will just proceed with normal. Anyone else who wants to do their QR? Go ahead. QR, calling for QR. Anyone wants to do QR? Feel like I'm selling ice cream. QR. No more, I off already, huh? That one, the car that drives around, the old newspaper car. Surat kabar lama. Okay, anyone else? If no, I bye-bye already, huh? Let me, no more, I off my QR first, huh? Or anyone wants to do manual, you have to read up your name, student number. So Sophia, proceed with the class normal or physical tomorrow morning, tomorrow noon time, okay? Siapa lagi? Any more questions? Let me see. Return. Stop my recording. Okay. All right, if there's no more questions, we can I'll see you guys tomorrow lah. I'll send this recording through Sophia lah, and also send it to Dr. Razak. I'm just worried that sometimes he didn't put it up as soon as possible. So I'll send it through Sophia as well after I digest it through YouTube lah. All right, have a good day, everyone. See you.
Thank you, doctor.
Thank you, doctor.
Thank you, doctor.
Enjoy your trip.
Don't cry.
Yeah.
No, I won't cry. Don't worry.
All the best to dentist.
Thank you. I need that. I hate dentists. All right, bye-bye. I need ice cream. I need ice cream after that.